what I remember, only really one rubber part to the.
Hi.
Hey, at the new time. We're like, we don't know how many people will join us at the first time at the new time, but we're gonna see.
That is-
Mike's coming. She's taking his place.
Well, we're glad to have you. Hey, Nick.
Rubber.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. How are you?
Good. Super good. Getting ready for Vegas again.
What are you going to Vegas for?
For Copa.
Yeah, I'll see you there.
Yeah, for sure. Excited for it.
Awesome. Okay, good. I have a friend.
Yes.
Dave's just coming in for one night just to hear me speak really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And that's it. And I'm like, are you leaving me on my own in Vegas?
I will be there. I'm bringing my operations manager too. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
hell yeah.
The rest of you, Nick and I got to hang out for days in Vegas when we went to IWCA.
Yeah. January.
With Dave in January, and there was just kind of a group of us that formed and just.
So yeah, I'll just go with 1 gallon. So it's everything except for the OSR, you have that in stock.
Had good fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. So, well, thank you guys so much for being here. We decided to try a new time. We got some feedback from some people. Dave and I went to a mastermind last week in Nashville with some really great high-level people. He's been a part of that mastermind for a while. It was my first time. And their feedback that they wanted to be able to join us and promote it and build the community with us as well. But they thought, especially for Eastern people, the time was so late. And I had originally chosen, when I set this up for Dave, I had originally chosen an evening time because I had built a community and done this with someone else that I helped build a brand and then come in and and we partnered to build a community. And it was in specifically just the green industry. So specifically lawn and landscaping. And we were in Omaha, Nebraska together. And most of the people that we were coaching in that coaching was great for, most of the people were still in the truck. They were still working. And so that community worked at 6:30 at night because they needed to be out in the lawn still and then could join us at night. And so I kind of just replicated that because we built that community so big and fast and it worked. And so I was like, oh, let's do the same time. So we'd love your feedback on time. We'll kind of try and figure this out of what works best for people. But we got a lot of feedback it would be better during the day. And so we're trying that out. Of course, the first week we're doing it, we're traveling and we can't even figure out what time the show is actually on. Because we're basing it off of Dave's time in Arizona that doesn't observe daylight savings time. And then we're like, wait a second, where are we and what time is it? So today I am presenting. Dave was going to hop on over at, we are right now in Florida at Win the Storm. Hello, David. Thanks for being on. So he is over at Win the Storm. Karen and Travis and Dave are all over there. I was with them and I ran back to the hotel because we didn't have any internet over there. The internet and cell phone wasn't working. So I came back to the hotel. I was going to be the one presenting today. Dave, you missed a little bit about what I talked about. We had gotten a lot of feedback on time of people didn't want it to interfere with their evenings. So we are trying a daytime time. We're going to try this for a few weeks, but we would love your feedback on that. So before I get into the topic, a little bit about what's to come for Collaborate and building the community. And we would love your help on that. I'm going to say kind of what our purpose is. We put it out there a lot on social media, but I don't know that it's necessarily been getting to the Collaborate Live or the Collaborate Pros clients. And so we're going to try and get that message out a lot more. What we want to do is build this as a community. I was talking a little bit about how I've done this in the past with people, and it has just become this amazing big community that is really powerful. So we do want to build this big, and hopefully build it to the point that we're having a topic and a presentation, and then we do breakout rooms. And so there are smaller groups that maybe people will lead and discuss and have a little more opportunity to work together on subjects and things like that. We did hear you, the EOS shouldn't have gone that long. And part of that reason is we were in travel and we're like, oh, let's just do this for another week. But we do have some organized topics for the next few weeks, and we will not do another multi-week event. They will always be one topic per week. Our goal also will be to always give you a workbook. We had done that the first week, so we'll make sure that those are up on the website and that the workbooks are always on the Facebook group. So today we're talking about Unique Genius. There is a great workbook that goes along with this that's really powerful, that I've done a lot of workshops with. So you guys will be getting that, and it will be in the Facebook group as well. If there are other things that you have, like I said, give us feedback, let us know. Help us build the community, invite people to be on here with us live, and invite people to be part of the Facebook group. And that's how it grows, is it continues to build. There wasn't really much of a social media presence, so we had to start that off from scratch and get some traction. So we should be getting some more people with that. And as we get communication systems more in place with Collaborate clients, hopefully we get some more Collaborate clients on here that see the benefit of discussion topics. And then, like I said, being part of a community that helps each other grow and is a great place for discussion as well. So we are going to be making a really exciting announcement that I know will grow the community. We're not making it for a couple weeks. Dave will be on here, but we've got a really exciting announcement of some incentives for being on live and announcement of a couple live events that we will be doing. So those will be lots of fun too. I was just telling everyone else, Nick and I had a lot of fun in Vegas at a convention, and we'll be together this next week at Clippa. And so events are a lot of fun. And when I'm going to put on these events, I promise that they will be a lot of fun, these in-person events as well. So, but for now, that's what you can do, is help us spread the word, help us get people on live and into the community, into the Facebook community, and really posting in the Facebook community, being active in that so we can help grow. Commenting on the posts on social media, those always help get it in front of people's eyes too. So now I'm going to start talking a little bit about, oh, we got all kinds of people on at the new time. Maybe there's people already. I can give Dave a bad time. It's just because it was just me. Welcome, those of you that just joined us.
I originally thought the time was like noon. Well, noon my time. I thought something said noon, and then I checked on the website and it was 12:30.
So there may have been one thing that we just had a brainstorm that said, hey, we're going to change it because we were at a mastermind, and then I think we said 1, then we said 1:30, and then we couldn't really figure out what time it is because we're also in a different time zone, and we based it off of Dave in Arizona and then daylight savings time. So we based our entire structure around what time it was going to be for him. And then now he's off from the rest of the country.
Yeah, no doubt.
Anyway, well, thank you guys again for being here. I'm going to talk a little bit about Unique Genius, and then we're going to discuss it at the end, what that means to you and anything else that you have on your plate. I want you to know that at the end, in the question and answer, in the collaboration part of this, we can not only, we can talk about the topic, but feel free to bring to the table anything that you have that week. Maybe you're struggling with something in your business. Maybe you have a great success story too, or something that you want to share, or a tip that really worked for you that you want to share with the group. Feel free to do any of that in our sharing time. Okay, so Unique Genius. I wrote a book a year ago titled The Courageous Mind, and this is one of the main philosophies of the book. Of business owners, as I interviewed entrepreneurs, successful people, that what set people apart from good, right? People that grew their businesses exponentially faster was how much they really focused on this and were diligent about it, of how much time they spent working in their unique genius. And I define unique genius as working in your strengths. So things that you do really well, that you're naturally God-given talents. Okay. Second, things that fuel your soul, light your spirit on fire, that you're passionate about. Some people say is your dharma. And then the third criteria is that they are, and this can even be 4 things, that they are aligned with your ultimate mission vision, and they're getting you closer to your goals. So when you're looking in your unique genius, it is operating under all 3 of those things. So it is doing something that aligns with all 3 of those. So often as business owners, we get caught in such a reactive mode and doing the things that need to be done, or just doing the things that we're really good at. We might be the best person at it, and we know that we are better at it and can do it faster and more efficiently than anybody else, and maybe 3 times more efficiently than anyone else. So we keep doing it, but it drains us, right? Do we have those things that we are awesome at? So much better than everyone else, but it just sucks the life out of us. And if we continue to do those and don't have an awareness of that, that's what leads to burnout, or even this emotional drain energy that means you're not as efficient and present at everything else that you're doing. So you can be spending, right? You can be spending time doing things that are moving your business forward, that you are the best at, that you're really good at, that you think it doesn't make sense to delegate to somebody else because this is what I do best and what I do best in the business. But think about those things. And the more you do them, the more they drain you. And like I said, make you not efficient at everything else. And then the third qualification of unique genius is, does it align with my ultimate mission, vision, and goals that I'm working on? So a few weeks ago, we talked about really laying out and defining your mission and vision. And if you haven't done that, I encourage you to do that, to have that in front of you, to have it written somewhere. One of my mentors challenged me to do this only a year ago. It's a newer mentor, but very successful, to write my mission, write out my mission and vision, and write out my goals for the year, and then big goals. And I now have them everywhere. I have one that I carry with me. Now, obviously I could put it in my phone, but he says there's something about the written power of it. So I have it with me in my purse all the time. I have it laminated in my shower. He said you have to have shower goals. So they're laminated in my shower. They are on a whiteboard, 2 different places in my office, a whiteboard in my bathroom, and a whiteboard on my refrigerator. That is how many places my mission, vision, and goals are written. I was a little bit off track, but the more you have to look at them, the more awareness it creates of, is every decision in alignment with that? I mean, I laugh because when they're on the refrigerator, right? Like if you have a mission and vision of like health and being in the most efficient in your life, and you have to look at that every time you go grab a snack, it's a little reality check as well. So I'm going to go over those one more time and say them. Your unique genius is the things that you are really good at, that are that fuel your passion, that are your dharma, set your soul on fire, and that align with your mission, vision, and your goals. So the exercise, the workbook that you're going to be getting is the Unique Genius Workbook, and it has you keep track of every single thing that you do for either a couple days.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40, 51.
Every single thing that you do. And personally, professionally, write it down. Because the first step in everything is awareness, right? And a lot of times we don't have awareness for even what we're doing or how much time it takes. In the exercise, I don't have you put a time allotment to it, but extra credit if you do, because it creates even more awareness if you're like, I spent this much time. But it really is just in a notebook, jotting down, or in notes in your phone, every single thing that you do. It's most powerful if you do it for a week, because sometimes as business owners, our weeks look a lot different, right? On Monday, we may be doing all of this, or in catch up. So the longer that you do it for, the more powerful that it is. Then you go back through that list with a highlighter. And I don't remember exactly how I tell you to do it, but you either highlight, circle, underline, star, 3 different things going through the first time. Are these in my strength zone? Am I really good at it? Or is there like, is this a natural born talent? Right. And being honest with yourself, if it's something you're really good at. And then, do you like doing it? Do you love doing it? If you don't love doing it. So for example, I use the example of in my first major in college for 3.5 years in college was chemical engineering. I was really, really good at math and science, like crazy good in high school. So I listened to everyone tell me to do that. And I was in college getting a 4.0 in chemical engineering. But I looked around after 3.5 years and I'm like, this is going to suck the life out of me. Who the heck are these people? Right? So just because I was really good at something, like so good, I was the best at the University of Nebraska in chemical engineering, top of my class, could have written my own ticket. I would have had a miserable life if I wouldn't have like woken up and figured out that those two didn't match. So that's like my biggest example of that. And that can happen in so many areas in our business. I think of with accountants a lot, right? They're really good at it and they might have liked it for a while. But if now doing that return or doing some part of the accounting is sucking the life out of them, that's one of the biggest things you got to get off your plate because it is ruining your happiness. So you're going through, you're doing your strength zones. The other thing about strength is, and so sometimes this isn't in the workbook, but you can take a 4th thing. That's why I said circle, underline, or star. There are things that only you can do in your life. Only you can work out for yourself, right? No one else can go to the gym for you, unfortunately. So if one of your goals is to be the best you, to feel the best, to take care of your body so that you have the most energy to take to everything else, it might be a goal, it might not be. You might have other things that you do, but I'm saying if that is one of your goals, no one else can go to the gym for you. So that's not something you can delegate. So it gets its own thing.
Oh, that safety booklet or safety booklet.
We're spending 2 hours at the gym. If you need it, and it doesn't really have a goal, back it and bet it either, right? Or you just,
That's gonna cost 40, 50 bucks.
does anyone have a question on that? I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. Like you feel good doing it, like doing it. And be honest with yourself if you don't. Like, it's okay to not like do things in your business. I hate, even though I have coached for a long time and coached in a P&L, and like, how can we get these more efficient? I hate doing it in my own business. I hate even looking at it. I don't know why. There's something that like just sucks the life out of me if I have to do any part of numbers. I'll look at the high level on the numbers, but if I have to do like any other part of it, don't like it. And so it's best for me to give that away. And then you can't figure out if it aligns with your goals if you really don't have those well defined. So that's why it's important to make sure that you have those written, because they're very well defined before you do the 3rd point of the exercise. Once you've done that, once you have that awareness and are looking through those, now it's time to take a look. And if it doesn't meet all 3 criteria, why are you doing it? Why are you spending any of your time in activities that do not meet all 3? And if it's not all 3, how can you delete it? Does it need to get out of your life, or how can you delegate it? So how can you is there someone else in the organization to do it, or do we need to bring someone on to do it? And I talk about Unique Genius so much because my business, outside of getting to work with Dave and stuff too, is I have a company of virtual assistants. So I have about 100 people in the Philippines that are masters at what they do. and then match them with people in the US that need an executive assistant, that need someone to help them work in their unique genius. And every single thing on their list that they're doing that doesn't align with those, depending on how high level it is, that how can you take that off the list and delegate it to somebody
You
else?
talking to me?
And a lot of times, this is really hard for people. They think, oh, man, I don't need or I don't need that. But as soon as you free up your time,
I have it for
any amount of time that you're doing things that suck the life out of you or aren't in those 3 areas, the sooner you get that out of your life,
Do we have the beans chili tonight?
how much you can exponentially
Chili dogs?
make a difference in your business and make a difference in your happiness. Because you
Any more?
time first. And now you're able to grow your business.
This is amazing.
One of the biggest difference makers of people that not only do the initial exercise, take the leap and do it and utilize someone and partner
What?
to get those off their plate, but then how you constantly evaluate that. So I evaluate each and every week. How good did I do?
Hey, Angela. Maybe, can Mike, mute, we're getting, hearing a lot of stuff from Mike.
I just muted him.
You did, okay, thanks.
So I try and do it every week at the end of the week. Sometimes at the end of the day, that's on my wins of the day, like, man, I did really bad today. I got sucked down a rabbit hole and shouldn't have done that. And it's an awareness piece each day of we're looking at, and when I say I hate to look at P&L and I hate to look at the numbers, we as business owners look at those numbers a lot. Like, where could I be more efficient? Where did I spend too much money? Where did I throw money away? When in reality, your time is money. And if you look at your time each day and how you spent it and think about the dollar value of what you could have created. So if you think of putting a dollar value on, like, how much are you worth an hour? And then how much time did you spend doing all these things that don't do all three of those things? And it's not only how much are you worth an hour, right? I mean, that's a wake up call. If you're like, oh my goodness, I spent 3/4 of my time not working in my unique genius and I am worth $300 an hour. I just threw away this much money. A bigger thing is we don't often put enough of a value on ourselves of that dollar amount. When I ask people, how much do you think you're worth an hour? We don't put enough on that. But the real thing is if you had, often people free up 25 hours of their week when we figure out what we could delegate. If you had 25 hours a week to really do what you do best and to grow your business, work on growing your business and not working in your business, what income would that create? If you had 100 more hours this month that you could work on growing your business and you worked efficiently at doing it, all you were working on is the things that you know moved the needle to grow. What difference in revenue would that create in your business? And that's the biggest self-awareness piece. By not doing it, you just threw away that opportunity. So that's my how powerful unique genius is. And like I said, first it's the awareness of it, and then it's the willingness to see that and to do something about it and to keep doing something about it. So anyone have any questions on that? Anyone ever done these things or think about them? We'll kind of take questions on this first, and then we can go into other things.
I don't have any questions on it, but I was recently, like last week, I was at an event in Texas and like we really dived into that. And one thing I realized is like, you know, having visions in different parts of your life where it's like personal, business, family. I realized, you know, I have such a big vision for my business that I just had my first son. He's like 14 months old now. And it's like I don't really have as much of a vision of like where my family's going, just because like I'm just so focused on the business. So this year actually I delegated payroll, so I'm no longer doing that, which is like liberating. I mean, my life feels way different. So yeah, having good people and like, you know, defining their vision or defining your vision and also getting them to define their vision around you is just like really helps create a clear mindset in the workspace and also on the personal side too. So yeah, I think it's, you know, you hear a lot about vision and mission, and it's sometimes hard to understand exactly what that means. For me, at least it was. And like now as I'm getting clearer on that, it definitely helps with the day-to-day to decide, like, are you gonna let this kind of take over your day, or is it in your vision? Is it on like should you be dealing with it really yeah, so cool.
I like-
Good to hear. And you know, keep reinforcing these things as you hear them more and more.
I like that, Nick. And a lot of times we do have a hard time thinking of mission and vision sounds so abstract and so big. So it helps to go through the exercises. But I like how you said, we don't always have a mission and vision for our personal life, or maybe as business owners, we think they so intertwine. And it was hard for me to write those that aligned personally as well. But when you said that, it made me think of a few years ago, I got a lot better about writing goals. My kids are adults now, but we still do it as a family, but like writing goals of that, like, you know, with your child, with your family, what are even short-term goals that we want to do? It seems to me like it's kind of a bucket list too, but as a family, like these are the things, like if we get all these things done as a family this year, and this is where we're at, like, that's going to bring me a lot of joy. Like if you want to go on a trip together, or you want to spend so many nights a week together, do little things,
For sure.
carving those out is important.
And then the other thing too is like they change, right? Like I used to be like, oh, my vision has to be like the same all the time, but it's like it's gonna be forever changing. So even if you make something a year from now, you're not in the same mind space, or you realize that's not the right vision that you have for yourself, you know, it's okay to change it. I feel like sometimes you get like so connected, you're like, okay, I thought about this, I'm gonna do it this way, and then you start doing it that way and you're like, hey, this really isn't the right way, I should be doing it. So like, you know, being okay with changing it, just having something that, you know, version 1 is better than version none. So like just starting with something and moving towards where you want to be, it helps a lot.
See the quote of the week. Version 1 is better than version 9.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
It's funny you were talking about my general manager and my 2 office people do that last week. Start last week for 2 weeks doing that on themselves to see how they spend their days.
I love that. Do they feel like they've had a new awareness, like self-discovery, what they're doing?
Well, the office people were worried. I thought they were being slackers or something.
Mm.
And I said, this is just as much for me to know if you're being overwhelmed as well. Maybe
Yep.
you need more help.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at it more for that, because I said, you're both are go-getters, you're great workers, but you're also the types that I'll just do it myself because nobody else can do it as good. And sometimes somebody else needs to do what you do the same way some people need to do what I do, because you're better use of your time than just doing some mindless stuff that I can pay a high school kid to do.
That's a great way of putting it, David. That's it. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Like, I want to make sure you're not overwhelmed. So I want to make sure that you're working in your unique team. I want to make sure that you're doing, and you have your team members do this. Like, hey, I want the awareness. If half of your job is sucking the life out of you, you're probably not going to be with me a year from now. So let's figure it out. Even if it is
And
your job, you read it, like, I need to know that so we can shift some things. It's also, I've found, now mine are also a little different, right? I mean, I have an internal team as well as everyone, but to be able to know, I trust my team, but I want them to have this awareness, and it is a way to document, to have them document and be a part of holding accountable how efficient they're being with their time if you're willing to do it yourself. If I constantly talk about this and they know that like documenting their time is not micromanaging, like I'm not asking to micromanage of like, took me this long to go to the bathroom, you know, things like that, but that we want to be the most efficient. If they know that I'm owning me doing it myself constantly, that I'm constantly evaluating it, that I keep track of it, and that we do it to do efficiencies, it's much better received. They don't think I'm micromanaging. They know, like, hey, I don't want you to be overwhelmed, or maybe it's taking them too long to do something. I've learned a lot of that from team members. Like they'll put something and I'm like, that took you 2 hours, like not me, and like that takes you 2 hours because we have somebody else that like is really fast at that and could have done that in 15 minutes. So why don't we swap tasks?
And then for us as the owners, it might be something we love doing. Like I love doing sales. I'm really good at sales, but is sales something I should do, or is it something I should hire people to do, because that's a $30 an hour job and I need to be doing a $100 an hour job instead.
Yeah.
It's really hard to let go of the stuff you really like doing.
Yeah.
I've almost got myself out of sales now. I'm only doing maybe 10% of it. So I'm working. 2 years ago I was doing 100%. Now I'm down to about 10%.
It is hard, and that one is an exercise. That's another element that then you have to judge, because there are things that are all three. There are things like sales, great point. Like I'm really good at it, I like it, and it gets me closer to my goals. But you're right. There's other things that I should do to grow the business.
But we're doing house washing. So 2 weeks ago, it's still winter. My two sales guys together sold $91,000 worth of house washing jobs in 1 week in the winter.
Wow.
Do they really need me to do it?
That's great. Who else has some feedback stories? If you're on mute, you can unmute yourself. I muted some people because you had feedback. So you can unmute yourself. Anyone else have questions or comments on Unique Genius?
I've got a question about what you first started out talking about the group, if you're ready to go there again.
Sure.
You said to invite people to this. Now, last week there was very few of us here, I think 2, and we asked a question about that. And is it open just to collaborate people, customers of Dave's, or is it open to other people?
It is open to other people. It was open to all business owners. So
Okay.
I promote it on my network as well. I didn't do a good job of the time change, but we've had some different people in my network as well, and I'll do a better job of that too. But any business owner. We talk a lot about home services industry, so it's probably the best tailoring to that, but the topics will be relevant to any business owner. So we put it out there on social media for everyone, but like I said, they collaborate in general didn't have any foundation of that, so we kind of had to build that up, and then we'll amp that up. So yeah, it's definitely open to everyone. And we just ask, you guys, that when we start the sharing part, this is another important thing that we didn't do, and I've tried to we'll shift into this a little. We'll try and present the topic a little at the beginning like we did, so that those lessons, if we're teaching a lesson, and it might be we'll put those out in advance. We always do it in the Facebook group in advance. We announce what the topic is on Friday. If you have some input, or say input on topics you'd like us to do, let us know that. If you have something you specifically like area of expertise that you want to help present on that topic, or want to talk about something, let us know. But going forward, we're going to try and do what I've done in the other communities that works well. The teaching portion will be, there'll be kind of a welcome at the beginning, and then you notice I kind of like have a stop. And then we'll present the topic about 15 minutes. That portion only, even though this whole thing is recorded, that portion only goes on YouTube and is available for recordings for you guys to listen to, or if there was some great lesson you want to share with somebody else or with your team members. The rest of the recording is deleted and not shared. We want the rest of it to be this space of community that you can absolutely tell us what's going on in your business, that you can bring problems to the table, that it's, you know, confidential, and that we ask what's shared in the group stays in the group. As far as that community portion is, we want you to feel free to be like, oh my gosh, I have this info. Like, you'll never believe what this team member did. To me.
Can you share with us what some of the topics are going to be?
I wish I had that in front of me. I know remarkable experience is one. We're going to present a little on the book. If anyone has read it, Never Lose a Customer Again. And it's on the whole customer experience cycle. So remarkable client experience is one. I know we have the next like 5 or 6 weeks planned out. Those are flexible and movable, but so if you have some suggestions, you can. But
Is it going to end up? Is it going to end up being topics like dealing with a problem employee, or breakdown marketing to things like yard signs or direct mail or things like that?
Yes. So there'll be different marketing topics as well. I know I have one coming up on, you know, new trends in social media, algorithms that have changed within the last month and how to beat those. We have a direct mail friends that we see at a lot of these things that does just an awesome service of pinpointing geo in, you know, exactly picking geo and income levels, and being able to do mailers and cookies and all kinds of things. So he's going to be presenting on the effectiveness of that. We do have that coming up, and some other guests. I'm pretty sure we're going to have Dan on here soon, Dan Plata, and do, you know, a funny areas of your P&L to look at, creative ways that you can be efficient there.
What's the length of the call you're going to try to keep it at?
The link to the call.
Link.
When you have this meeting every Wednesday afternoon, how long are you going to try to make it? Is it like a half hour? Is it an hour?
We'll be open to an hour. Like, we'll start right at I'm like, I don't even know. 1:30 Central. Okay. I was like, it's 3 o'clock. We'll start at 1:30 Central. We will kind of welcome each other, whatever, at the beginning. I didn't do wins the week this week. We might. I like starting a call like that, depending on how many people, just starting it on a positive note. And then we'll do about 15, 20 minutes of the presentation. It depends. Like, if there's a little bit more in-depth one, that might, you know, go just a little bit longer if we're showing some logistics and stuff, but we'll try and keep the presentation tight at that. And then the discussion may be a little more formal. In some exercises, I was like, do you have any feedback? And Unique Genius is a little bit more of a one that's on your own, right? Like, you got to go do the activity and have awareness. Now, there's other different things that we'll go through of, like, you did a great job already and talked about awarding employees. And that was going to be one that came up sooner, and we'll probably do it later, because you did a great job, Dave, of talking about the motivate and things like that. But there'll be some topics that we can really have a discussion that we're like, hey, write down 3 things you're doing really well in culture, or for example. And then that'll be can be a lot more purposeful roundtable discussion. Be like, hey, who wants to share the 3 things that they wrote down? And then you can really effectively learn from other people. And then it just depends on that last time, like we'll be available and Dave and I have blocked out for an hour, but that last time will be flexible like it is now. Like right now, you can bring anything to the table and somebody might bring a great question to the table or a struggle that they have going on in their business. And we'll be here as long as, not as long as the community wants to discuss it, but for the hour of people wanting to stay on. Yeah, Mike.
So, I'm curious if you have any insight or if any of the other gentlemen here have insight. For me, I feel like I'm probably 80% technician, 10% manager, 10% owner is kind of like my role. And I definitely don't feel like working on my business is my unique genius. Like it saps my energy being in the office trying to do these things. Now I'm kind of bearing through it to, get systems in place and work on procedures and that sort of thing. Is that just what I need to do, even though it's not my unique genius?
Or not necessarily if it really sucks the life out of you. And this is maybe a conversation, Mike, that I can help you with a little more like one-on-one. We could just and go over this, and I can dive into specifically like what about that does zap you, or what is that? Because sometimes when we talked about documenting processes, sometimes there is somebody else in our organization that could do that, that has that strength, that you just assign that to. You're like, I hate that. I am better off in making more money out here doing this right now. But all the processes need documented. And so who's going to come along and help you with that? And
Sure.
I've seen people, if you are really don't like that, then you don't want to do it. I mean, it seems like you have an awareness of like, I absolutely do not want to do that. So great, you're the owner. Find a solution.
Sure.
And I worked with somebody that they hired a high school student in the summer to just come in, and they didn't want to document the process at all. So that person literally shadowed them, just wrote down everything that was going on. They're like, now you need to follow this person. Okay. Now you need to document how payroll is done. Okay. And young people have not a greater capacity, but you guys, I already feel like when you're to the age that you can't figure something out and you ask your kids, you're like, I don't know, I gave up. Maybe as I have less patience and younger people do, and that they're willing to document every single thing and then put it into the process. And if there are tools out there to know how to document processes, Dave and I can give you them as well. But if you have somebody do those and do videos, shadow you, write down the process, do videos, we can give you how they can put it into process form. And now all your processes are done. Now, once your processes are all done and documented, then it is worth another look if you have a leadership team or a few people, how can we make those processes more efficient? Is there any step of the way? And having someone shadow and create the process for you can also be a unique awareness, right? You're like, that's not supposed to happen. Especially when
I got a question.
And you did 5 steps that were not supposed to be part of the step.
So you say you're on the truck 80% of the time. Remind me right. Do you do carpet cleaning, is it?
That's correct.
Okay. So do you do that 80% of the time because financially it makes sense in the journey you're on right now? Is it because you just love doing it? Or why do you do it 80% of the time?
I do like doing it. And then I think that we're kind of in transition as far as the amount of work compared to, gaining employees as well. That hurdle.
So what is your goal to get off the truck?
I wouldn't
Or
say.
do you want to
I would
stay
say
on?
maybe 5 years down the road, maybe. But I would like to lighten the load if I'm going to be working on the processes of the business.
I'm unique in that I started out completely different. I was never on the truck. I've never washed a house, even though we've washed 13,000 houses. I just skipped that step and hired it out from the get-go. So that I could spend my time in the marketing side of it and the taking the time to build the company up to where, you know, we're doing 7 figures. Because
That's the piece. Point, like that's the piece that requires your attention to grow the business is sales and marketing. Like to grow, to hire the employees, to grow, to be able to replace yourself. That's, I would say, I mean, would you agree, David? That's the next most important thing for you to do.
you know, because if you can't make your phone ring, you're never going to grow.
And I
And
think
it just takes time and
Yeah.
energy.
I think another thing to mention too is like back to like the mission and the vision. It's like what's your mission, what's your vision, like because if you kind of want to stay on the truck for the next couple of years, then you know maybe you don't really need to be thinking about the processes right now and stuff, because you know you just got to get crystal clear on what it looks like right now and like when you want to make those changes. Because once you have enough, once your vision is I want to get off the truck, then you know it makes more sense to have somebody follow you around. When you're like, you know, I kind of like doing the jobs. Like I've been in that boat. When I started my company, I did everything, and I wanted to get out right away. Like I like cleaning windows, I like talking to people, but I like making the phone ring and you know just working on scripts and what we can say that's a little different to get more customers, stuff like that, training the guys, developing the team. That's what I really love to do now. But it's like, you know, you got to focus on like what your vision is right now. So if it's just you on the truck and that's kind of the way you see it, I wouldn't really try to push for more if you're not really ready for it.
Thank you.
I'm always like that we're going to inspire you. That was great, Nick. I'm such the like, go. Yes, you want to do.
I feel like, you know, when I first started my company, I had these like huge, like I used to do like budgets and like, oh, I'm going to be doing this number and whatever. And then I didn't hit those numbers. And I was like, I know why I didn't, like, I just didn't have the proper team around me. And I think the number one thing is like when you hire somebody, make sure it's the right person. So if you hire the wrong person and try to implement systems, it doesn't matter if you have systems, it's not going to work anyways. So you need to have people that are like, have your vision as well to where you want to take the business. So that's, I think the number one thing is like when you do decide to expand, make sure you hire that right person, because that person is either going to make you get to the next level or it's going to keep you at that level and kind of maybe even sink you a little bit. So people are.
That's true.
And if you're going to hire that person, make sure you're able to compensate them well enough to where they're not going to keep quitting over and over and over again with replacements, because it is horrible, hard, demoralizing to keep on replacing people, and it's really, really expensive. People don't realize how expensive it is to have turnover. I haven't hired a person in a year because nobody's left. And it saved me thousands of dollars. Tens of thousands of dollars.
Tens of thousands.
So,
Right.
pick right and pay them enough.
Pick right and pay them enough. I love it.
I pay my salespeople more than I pay me. Because they're the you don't have sales, you don't have company, you don't have work for everybody else.
That's true. Anyone else comments? It can be on Unique Genius, it can be on Collaborate Live, or just something you have going on in your business that you want some clarity on before we finish up. No? Okay, well, like I said, we would love your help growing this community. So your assignment for this week, do your Unique Genius workbook. We'll get that sent out to you tomorrow, and it will be in the group. And then invite someone to collaborate. Invite somebody to the Facebook group. Let them know about Collaborate Live next week. And then we would love your feedback too. So if you have some topics or things that you would like us to address, things that you like, things you want to see more of, all of that, don't hesitate to reach out, reach out and let us know
Are
so
you-
that we can make this the best possible. And then stay tuned, because like I said, we're super excited for announcements
Are you-
about live events and some fun
Are you
things.
gonna start a Facebook Messenger group?
There is a Facebook group. It's called Collaborate
No,
Live.
not Facebook, a messenger group. Facebook Messenger.
We didn't plan on.
More, it's like a chat room that way.
We didn't plan on starting a messenger. group. We can talk about that.
WhatsApp chat, but that might get a little crazy.
Yeah, I'm a little like overwhelmed with the chat thing, but in the other communities, we just did the group, and as long as you have your notifications on, for the group, it went pretty.
Yeah, actually, I'm planning. I have a little WhatsApp group. I've just been meeting so many people at the conventions lately that like started a little group with a couple guys so far, and we just like post our wins in it. So like anytime you do something that's like, you know, just kind of try to keep each other amped up. Like we're all in different areas and whatever, but like it's like a wins strictly group. So that's one thing like I'm trying to do.
So Dave and I, we had all these things, and then we just have been traveling a lot and not implemented them. We're going to be putting out a lot more like little snippet video content. And then one of us is going to post on Friday a question, and one of us a post on Monday. So Monday, there'll be a question for the week. And then Friday, I love what you said, because that's what we'll do on Friday. Hopefully we'll start Collaborate Live like that. And then Friday will be me or Dave shouting out, tell us about your win of the week. So just a way to kind of bring positivity into the weekend, give us ideas, and then kind of based on what the topic is, we'll be asking a lot more questions in there too. Like, hey, what's the greatest thing you've ever done to improve your company culture? Or
For sure.
tell us a story about, you know, your greatest marketing success.
It's exciting. Sounds fun.
Okay. Well, everybody have a great week. We will see you next week at 1:30 Central. Nick, when do you get to Vegas? Anyone else going to Clipicon?
I'll be there on
I
Wednesday.
am.
Woo! I get there till Thursday. You're going too, David?
What? I'm going to. What time is it out there compared to when this happens? It's 3 hours off out there, isn't it?
So yeah,
It'll be
I'm
12.
still
It'll
home.
be 12.
They fly me out on Thursday morning, so I'm still.
Yeah,
It's
I'm flying out Tuesday night. So on Thursday, no, it's Wednesday's the meeting, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm taking a couple people with me, so we're going dune buggying in the desert that day. So I don't know if I'll be able to make it or not, but we'll try.
I think that I don't know.
Vegas is
11:30?
I don't know because of the daylight
I
savings.
think it's a 3 hour difference from East Coast time.
Stay tuned. I will announce what Vegas time is.
I heard you guys
Oh.
talking. It's
Hopefully we announce this challenge before next week. Dave wants to be on, but sometime hopefully we announce it, because you guys will get some points and some fun things of like spot us in the wild. Spot Dave and I in the wild.
Yeah,
you-
Dave told me that was coming.
So, all right, you guys have a great week. Thanks so much for being on.
All right,
Gotcha.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.